me, Be Unique. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello and welcome. If you're returning, you know you guys are awesome. So today I'm going to be doing a review slash first impressions and swatches of the new ColourPop palettes that came out. I don't know if it's like a series. Is this new packaging? I'm not too sure. But if you guys have seen these floating around on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, I have them all. And if you guys are interested in swatches and how they perform, then please. So these palettes, I have to say I'm in love with the packaging. I love the little unicorns that they came with. If you guys don't know, ColourPop came out with 5 palettes, all with completely different packaging than their usual. Here are the unicorns. Like I said, they are very different from ColourPop's usual packaging. Here is their typical shape for their packaging, and here is the new packaging that they came out with. Now, whether or not they're going to keep this, I don't know, but they do range from $10 a piece. And I have to say, I quite like it. I quite like the packaging. I think it reminds me of the little mini Natasha Denona that came out in the BoxyCharm add-ons, or no, I think it was Luxe a month ago. I did have the bundle purchase option when it was released, so that did save money. So if you guys are interested in buying all of them, they do have that option. Whether or not that option is still there, I am not sure, but it does help save money. So immediate thoughts with the palettes and their packaging. I'm a little surprised that they are this small. If you're comparing this new packaging with their old packaging, you're getting 9 shades here for a couple dollars more, and this is, again, this is what, $18 maybe on first release, first launch, maybe 12, and this is 10. So I mean, I would like the 2 additional shades. I'm sorry, not 2 additional shades, the 4 additional shades. I think that would be a little bit more realistic for me. I do like they're travel friendly. The size, you know, they're easy to carry around. You could easily take all 5 palettes if you wanted to and go out and about. Performance wise, I'm assuming it's going to be the same, but we'll find out. So yeah, let's get on to swatches and the first palette we're going to swatch is the Crush palette. Here's the palette. Bow. Then the next shade we have is Love. These seem a little, I don't know, are you guys seeing all that in the pan? Then the next we have is Arrow. The next shade we have is Struck. Oh, that's pretty. The last shade we have is Cherub. And that is Crushed swatched. Then the next palette we are going to swatch is the Cherish palette. Here is the palette. And the first shade we are going to swatch is Destiny. Oh, I like the way this one feels on my finger. Then we have Adore. Then we have Faith. Then we have Precious. And then the last one we have is Forever. And that is this palette swatched. The next palette we are going to swatch is Amore. Here is the palette. And I love that this one has a pressed glitter. I wish they all had a pressed glitter. I feel like they should have kept the textures the same in each palette. That way there's more cohesion, I guess. So the first shade we are going to swatch is Passion. Then the next shade we are going to swatch is Romeo. Then we have Affair, which is that glitter. Then the next shade we have is Woo. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that plum shade. And then the final shade is Darling. That one did not swatch so well. I'm going to go again. And that is this palette. The next palette is Ballad. Here is the palette. The first shade is Novel. The next shade is Epic. Then we have Drama. Then we have Fate. Then the last shade we have is Prose. I think I'm saying that right. Oh, that is beautiful. And here is the palette swatch. The last palette we have to swatch is Lyric. Here is the palette. This is gorgeous. This also has a pressed glitter, which is this shade right here. So to begin swatches, we are going to start with Melody. Then we have Ode. Tilt your hand this way. Then we have that pressed glitter, which is Unsung. Then we have Cello. And the last one we have is Verse. I like how the names correspond with the title of the palette. And here is the palette swatched. My daughter had chosen a palette for me to actually do like a wear test review on. And the palette that she chose was this palette right here, which is the Ballad palette. Oh, and if you see her head popping up, that's her putting her makeup on down. I already set my eyes with concealer and setting powder. So the first shade that I'm going to grab is Epic, which is this neutral shade right here. This palette reminds me a lot of the Cremated palette by Jeffree Star. So I don't know what I want to do, honestly. All right, I'm just going to put that all in my crease and blend up towards the brow bone. So that color looks very nice and it's blending out as expected. It is a gray toned, well, compared to my skin tone, it's gray. It looks gray on the skin. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same to the other eye. I'm gonna go in with a brow highlight and I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, which is Novel. And I'm going to take this dual-ended brush that we got from the Lunar Beauty palettes. And I'm just gonna go in with this end right here and tap in to that light shade. And we're just gonna add that to the brow bone ever so slightly. Then I'm just going to touch up with the previous shade used, Epic, just to make sure that I didn't take it too far down, and to also add the intensity up a little bit. So the next shade I'm going into is going to be the shade Fate, which is this gray shade right here. It is a matte shade, but it does have glitter reflex in it. So I'm going to use that on the outer portion of my crease area. And we're going to pray and hope that this looks good. So fingers crossed. I'm just going to grab a flat shader brush. And we're just going to go in. Ooh, I don't know. It has quite a bit of kickback in it. So we're just going to focus this in the crease, but in the outer corner. And I'm only taking this halfway because I really don't want to add that any further in my eye. The shade is actually going on a lot lighter than I thought it was going to. And that's, for me, actually a good thing. And it's more matte, too, than I thought it was going to be. So that's really, like, I'm surprised with that, actually. I'm going to go in now with this black. Being that the gray didn't pull up as glittery as I thought it was going to, I'm gonna go for this black. So I'm just grabbing a pencil brush and digging into the shade Prose. And we're gonna add that ever so lightly just to add some added depth. out in the outer V area. This might not be the outer V, I don't know, but this is where I'm putting it. And again, it is a lot more matte than it shows up in the pan. And even when it's swatched, it's so glittery. So that's very interesting how this is playing out actually. Now I'm gonna go back on the previous brush used and with the previous shade, which is that gray Fate color. And I'm just gonna help blend out the edges here. And then I'm also going to pack that on to help blend into that black. Now I'm gonna go in on a flat brush. I'm just gonna go on the one from Lunar Beauty, and I'm gonna grab some setting spray. And the setting spray I'm gonna be using is the Tarte Miracle Mist, Maracuja Mist. And I'm gonna go into the shade Drama, which is the shade right here. And I'm going to basically put that all over to where it meets that gray shade. Tapping towards the edge. Going back in with the Fate shade, I'm going to use the same brush that we used for that shade, and I'm just going to tap over the edges where the black and the metallic shade meet, just to make sure that everything is blended nicely. Then we're going to go back in with this shade right here, which is Epic, on that fluffy brush that we did use for that palette. And I just want to go back in the crease to help build up that shade a little bit on both eyes, because I feel like there's nothing there. And I really want that shade to be a little bit more prominent. So spraying a flat brush, I'm going into the shade Novel, which is this lighter shade here. And we're going to use that for the inner corner highlight. So I've done the majority of my foundation, and now I'm going to do the bottom lash line, and then I'll add liner and lashes afterwards. But for the bottom lash line, I'm thinking I kind of want to use that taupey color, that taupey gray Epic, which we use as like a transition shade. So I want to go ahead and get a flat shader brush, and I'm just going to dig into that shade and kind of smudge that in my bottom lash line. Okay. I know that was really quick, but I didn't want to forget to tell you guys about that step. So I'm gonna go ahead, do my liner, lashes, and throw on some lips, and I will be right back. So here is the finished look using the palette from ColourPop in Ballad. I think it came out very nice. It blended out very smoothly. There was a little bit of fallout and kickback, but you're gonna get that with palettes anyway. So I mean, there's nothing, it's nothing like the Subculture palette that went on and on and on. And I mean, like, that one was really bad. This one was not as bad at all. Overall thoughts with their new packaging and their just the shades in general. In the palettes. For this one specifically that I did use, I was quite shocked, let me tell you, because I thought these two were going to be a lot glittery than they actually were when using with a brush. When I swatched with my hands, or with my fingers I should say, it looked pretty glittery, and I'm like, I can't use that on my eyes, my eye shape, and my skin. It's not going to pick up well. It's actually a lot more matte, so don't let that fool you. With that being said, I'm kind of curious as to how the other palettes are going to play out, just because I know that formula is in quite a bit of the palettes, like Crush, for example, as well as Cherish, Amore, and I think the only one that might not have it is this palette right here, which is Lyric. So the only palette that they came out with that does not have that glittery matte formula is Lyric. So if you guys are interested in that, there you go. So are these worth your money? I think so. For $10, you can't beat that. I did buy the bundle, again, like how I said previously, for $45, which saved me money with shipping and handling and all that. So that pretty much wraps up this video, you guys. If you guys liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below on whether or not you are going to grab any of these palettes. Are you interested in them? How do you, what do you think about the packaging that they came out with? And please do not forget to sting my subscribe button. Come join my little beehive here with me. How I pollinate my videos on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or wherever else you guys could think of pollinating my videos. And I'll catch you in the next one.